There are lots of different colors for skin.
I have questions for you about these pictures of different children.
After I read the question, I want you to
Point to the picture that fits the story.
Are children colorblind in America?
show me the smart child.
Show me the mean child.
Can you show me the dumb child?
Show me the nice child.
Is bias measurable even at an early age?
Why is she the bad child?
Because she's black.
And why is he the ugly child?
Because he looks like he's white.
Why is he the dumb child?
Because she has dark brown skin.
Why is she the bad child?
Because she makes fun of everybody else's skin color.
How much do kids learn from what they see and hear from adults?
Show me the child who has the skin color most adults like.
And show me the child who has a skin color most adults don't like.
These are questions that we, along with CNN's Soledad O'Brien and a team of psychologists hired by CNN, spent months investigating through tests, interviews with children and their parents. But they're questions that have been asked for decades. The first doll study ignited controversy in the 1940s, when psychologists Kenneth and Mamie Clark pioneered studies in the effects of segregation in schools by asking African-American kids to choose between black and white dolls. The so-called doll test found black kids overwhelmingly preferred white over black. Those results were at the center of the landmark 1954 Supreme Court case Brown versus the Board of Education that desegregated American schools. Now, with the first African-American president and nearly 60 years after segregation was overturned, we wondered, where are we today? How do kids see differences in race? What we discovered might shock you, but first, how we got there.
Skin color, child skin color estimation.
Okay, yeah.
We asked renowned child psychologist and University of Chicago researcher Dr. Margaret Beal Spencer to design a pilot study for CNN and analyze the results.
Our children are always near us, because we're a society. And what we put out there, kids report back. You ask the question, they'll give you the answer.
Spencer's team tested more than 130 kids in 8 schools with very different racial and economic demographics. Half of the schools were in the North, half in the South. Oh, nicely done. While the country is much more diverse today than in the 1940s, the children in this project are from 2 age groups and 2 races, white and black, to better allow comparison to the original doll study. 4- and 5-year-old children were asked a series of questions about these images. 9- and 10-year-old children were asked questions about the same images as well as this color bar chart. The tests led us to 3 major findings. First, white children as a whole responded with a high rate of what researchers call white bias, identifying the color of their own skin with positive attributes and darker skin with negative attributes.
Show me the dumb child.
Dumb child.
Okay, why is she the dumb child?
Because she has black skin.
Show me the mean child. Why is he the mean child?
Because she's brown.
Show me the bad child. Why is he the bad child?
Because she is black.
Okay. Show me the ugly child. Why is he the ugly child?
Because she's brown, black.
Show me the child who has the skin color most adults like. And show me the child who has the skin color most adults don't like. Show me the child who has the skin color most children like. Show me the child who has the skin color most children don't like. Show me the child who has the skin color most girls want. Show me the child who has the skin color most girls don't want.
The questions that got overwhelmingly white-biased answers?
Show me the dumb child.
About 76% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the mean child.
About 66% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the child who has the skin color most children don't like.
Again, about 66% of the younger white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones.
Show me the bad child.
More than 59% of the older white children pointed to the 2 darkest skin tones. But some white children did have more race-neutral responses.
So could you show me the good-looking child? So what are you thinking? I know you pointed to them all, but tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that I do not care if they are black, white, mixed, or any kind of race. I think that it matters who they really are.
So show me the smart child. Okay, why is she the smart child?
Because she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the mean child. Okay, why is she the mean child?
Because she's way darker.
Okay. Show me the good child. Why is she the good child?
Because I think she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the bad child. Why is she the bad child?
Because she's a lot darker.
Show me the ugly child. Why is she the ugly child?
Because she's like, a lot darker.
What do you think? Shocking to you?
I just think it's because she's not exposed. I mean,
You're almost near tears. Why? It's not meant to upset you. What's upsetting you?
it's not really upsetting. I mean, everything she said, she chose someone like her because she's smart, and she is.
All the good attributes. She's got a
Yeah.
healthy ego. That looks like
And
me.
as
That kid's
far-
like me.
And as far as the one she chose for, being ugly or mean, I mean, you can't even see any facial features in that one. But she has never asked about any, color. As far as, when she plays with friends, and when we were talking about, we were actually going to soccer, where there's all different kinds of people there, and that's when she says, I chose the dark one as the one that was mean. I think that was an eye-opener for me because we've never really talked about race, so we talked a long time about it.
Ready, set, go.
Our second major finding, even black children as a whole have some bias toward whiteness, but far less than white children.
Show me the smart child. And why is she the smart child?
Because she is white.
Okay. Show me the dumb child. And why is she the dumb child?
Because she plays.
Well, show me the ugly child. And why is she the ugly child?
Because she plays.
Show me the good-looking child. And why is she the good-looking child?
Because she likes skinny.
And show me the skin color you believe most teachers think looks bad on a girl.
I don't think they think it matters. Because I think each teacher wants to help a student learn either way what they look like. And it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it just matters what you look like on the inside.
Show me the good-looking child.
They look the same.
Yeah? Show me the child you would like as a classmate.
All of them.
You like all of them as classmates? Why do you say all of them?
Because I don't really care what color they have.
This 5-year-old girl gave some provocative answers during her test. I asked her about them later.
How about you? Why do you want that skin color?
Because it looks lighter than this kind, because this looks a lot like that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just don't like the way brown looks, because the way brown looks really nasty for some reason, but I don't know what reason. That's all.
So you think it looks nasty?
Well, not really, but sometimes.
Sometimes. And Brielle, they asked what color adults don't like. Do you remember what you said? Which one? That's right, that's what you said. Why do you think adults don't like that color?
Dark.
Dark. And adults, you think adults don't like dark?
Well, maybe some adults do, but maybe some of them don't.
The questions that got overwhelmingly white-biased answers?
Show me the one you think most children would think looks bad on a boy.
More than 70% of the older black children chose the darkest skin tones.
Show me the child who has a skin color most children don't like.
More than 61% of the younger black children chose the two darkest shades.
Show me the ugly child.
More than 57% of the younger black kids chose the two darkest shades. Dr. Spencer says the research shows the bias toward white is still very much part of our culture.
All kids are exposed to these stereotypes, but what's really significant here is that white children are learning or maintaining those stereotypes much more strongly than the African American children.
And that is our third finding, the finding that interested Dr. Spencer the most, that overall younger and older children keep the same patterns stereotyping. In other words, their ideas change little from age 5 to 10.
Ordinarily, by the time children are older, there's sort of a natural filter, their own ways of thinking sort of aids them in sort of rethinking the extreme stereotypic sort of responses to become less highly biased.
That left Professor Spencer wondering what's causing this pattern. She speculates that kids are bombarded by stereotypical messages and that adults in kids' lives have to fight to override the deluge. Black parents may be more diligent about that, while white parents may not notice the need.
The messages are the same for all children, and therefore the task is the same for all parents. Parents have to reframe what children experience.
We realize these findings may be disturbing and that some people will question this project's conclusions. What stereotypic messages are being sent in a country that elected a black man president?
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
Like all research projects, ours is not perfect. Some kids were told ahead of time they'd be asked about race. Some children identified as one race but came from biracial families, like this boy whose mom is white. But Professor Spencer tells us these are common issues in research and the results can still be trusted because of the sample size. To be clear, this is a scientifically informed and executed pilot study, which suggests the need for further research. The results point to major trends, but are not the definitive word on children and race. Still, they underline what Dr. Spencer sees as an alarming conclusion.
We are still living in a society where dark things are devalued and light things are valued.
The question we're left with is, where do we go from here? Anderson Cooper, CNN.
Do you remember you were asked what skin color do you want? Do you remember which one you said?
Yeah, that one.
Which one?
This one.
Why do you want that skin color?
Because I don't know. I don't know.
Not sure?
No.
What do you think of that skin color?
Well, it looks kind of whitish, and that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? Why do you want that skin color?
Because it looks lighter than this kind, because this looks a lot like that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like the way brown looks, because the way brown looks really nasty for some reason, but I don't know what reason. That's all.
So you think it looks nasty?
Well, not really, but sometimes.
Sometimes. And Brielle, they asked what color adults don't like. Do you remember what you said? Which one? That's right, that's what you said. Why do you think adults don't like that color?
Dark.
Dark. And adults, you think adults don't like dark?
Well, maybe some adults do, but maybe some of them don't.
Hmm. And then which was the ugly child?
That one.
And why was he the ugly child?
He was the ugly child because he was the ugly one because when he would try to go to school, sometimes all the white kids would make fun of him.
Why were they making fun of him?
Because of the color of his skin.
Mm. Does that happen sometimes?
Not now, but back then it did.
Back in the old days?
Mm-hmm.
Why did that happen back then?
Because I think the people in the schools didn't think that like the black kids should get education like the white kids did.
Mm-hmm. Are there now, do you see differences now between black kids and white kids?
No.
No. Do you think some kids do see differences?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, maybe some people still think that blacks are ugly and whites are nice and handsome.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think they think that?
Maybe because of what they heard, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think things have changed? You were saying that in the old days, people with different skin colors were treated differently.
Because Martin Luther King Jr., I think, helped make black and white go to the same schools and bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. And you think that changed people's opinions?
Mm-hmm. Some, but some didn't change their opinions.
So do you see different today? Is there a difference between a black person and a white person?
Not really.
Pretty much the same?
Yeah. They're people. They're the same thing.
They were asking about skin color. When you think about skin color, what do you think?
I think it's kind of magical because I think, like, we're not all the same, we're different. And it doesn't really matter what color you are, it just matters what you're like inside.
Do you think some people think it matters what skin color you are?
Yeah. Yeah, some people do. I wonder why they think that.
Yeah, your color is kind of who you are. It makes you you.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think do some kids treat other kids differently because of skin color?
Probably because they're not like them, so they probably say that they're not like them, so they don't want to be their friend.
And one of you was asked about the skin color that most teachers think looks bad on a girl, and you said, I don't think it matters, they want to help you learn. What doesn't matter what's on the outside, only on the inside. You said that. Explain that, what do you mean?
Like, I think the teachers are mature, like they don't really care what color you are. They just want you to get a good education.
Mm-hmm. Did you see any difference between those girls?
No,
not
they
really.
all look pretty friendly.
They all look pretty friendly?
Yeah.
Do you think some people would see a difference, or do you think most people would just say they seem pretty friendly?
I think most people would say that they look pretty friendly.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to do. You don't judge people how they look, you judge how they act.
Well, show me the ugly child. And why is she the ugly child?
Because she's black.
Show me the good-looking child. And why is she the good-looking child?
Because she likes skinny.
And show me the skin color you believe most teachers think looks bad on a girl.
I don't think they think it matters.
They don't think it matters?
Like, it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, it just matters what you look like on the inside.
Can you show me the child that has your skin color?
Yeah.
Okay. Show me the child that has the skin color you want.
I want that.
Okay. Show me the child who has the skin color you don't want. Show me the child you would like as a classmate.
All of them.
You like all of them as classmates? Why do you say all of them?
Because I don't really care what color they have.
The bottom line is that I think we're talking about children mirroring the unfinished business of adults in this country, because these are uncomfortable issues. People find it easier to believe that we live in a colorblind society, that disparity findings have to do, they believe, with a lack of effort as opposed to a lack of access. So it's easier to believe that it's a lack of effort on someone else's part versus a socially constructed set of conditions that are inherently biased, unjust, and demonstrate, therefore, these consistent disparities in terms of outcomes. To deal with these issues in a society means that we have to engage the self, both individually and collectively. And that is uncomfortable business. It is a very, very complex business in the 21st century because these issues are much more complex than they were, I think, 50 years ago, because there is diversity within whites and there's diversity within minority communities. So it really means that as adults, we need to step back and look at all the different ways that injustices continue to be the normative state of affairs in this country, but generally are left unaddressed. So in the confines of our homes, we say things, we do things, or we don't challenge issues. And those unchallenged issues are ideas and values that kids pick up on. Kids listen to what we say, and they also take note of what we don't say. That is, what we don't challenge. And I think we forget, just how loose we are in how we deal with these issues and how we deal with our own behaviors. Before talking about how to teach our kids, what I'm trying to say is that the most significant lessons take place from observed behavior. So before moving to teaching our children concrete ideas, the children have to see us living those beliefs, those ideas, those values in real time. That's what kids are exposed to 24/7. We can say whatever we want to say, but the rest of the time, if we're doing something else, children are smart and they pick up, what you say being different from what you do. So before engaging in what we have to teach our kids, I think we have to examine our own beliefs and why we can't function differently, why we can't engage in behaviors which suggest a just America. And I think injustice is still part of our experiences in this country. If you're poor, or if you're a minority group member, or if you're an immigrant, or if you have a certain body type or color. I think there are experiences that one has that are in conflict with the values that we're trying to espouse as a nation. And that's the dilemma, and that's what kids are exposed to.
Just how quickly little kids seemed to pick, what child they thought was the dumb child, what child was the smart child. I mean, It seems like little kids form a perception about skin color and about race early on.
It was a little bit surprising, but not super surprising, because, I think society does give us messages about what's more valuable, what's less valuable in our culture. And historically, and still to this day, there's still value to having white skin in this country. And that's not just perceived value. I think a lot of it is actually real, because the outcomes, if you're black, are just different. You're less likely to go to a good school. You're less likely to have a higher income. You're more likely to go to prison. And these are societal things that have been in place for years and years. And I think kids are responding to those things. They see these cues, they see these realities, and they're not just perception, they're real.
And it's interesting, talking to their parents, because a lot of the white parents were kind of horrified seeing their child make these choices. And even though they had, felt like they had had a conversation or two with their child, in the end, they often were saying, well, clearly I need to talk more with my child about it.
I think kids need to be educated about history, about this country, and kind of some of the things we don't like to talk about a lot of times. Because I think some parents want to live kind of a colorblind life and say, I just want my kids to love everybody. And yes, you want your kids to love everybody, but you should also understand that this country enslaved black people for hundreds of years.
Did your family, when you were growing up, did you talk about race? Was that something was that a conversation? Because in the study we found that more African-American parents seem to talk to their children at a younger age about race than the white parents did.
Yeah, we talked about race to some extent, and I think it was less a discussion about race and more a discussion about kind of being proud to be us. And I would read about Martin Luther King and just be proud that there was a black guy that did this. I would see Bill Cosby on TV and I'd be proud that there was such a cool black family on TV that everybody watched. And I was a curious kid. Like, I used to read about the Civil Rights era. I used to read about the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. I was proud of the people that fought it. I was inspired by these people and made me want to live a life that was, that was worthy of their sacrifice.
It's interesting when you talk to some Caucasian people and they will say, well, look, we're all American and we shouldn't be focused on division. We should be focused on the things that unite us.
Sure.
And yet, do you find in your own life, do you still come up against racism or against people who judge you differently based on the color of your skin? I read a tweet recently
well, I had an incident in Virginia that wasn't very encouraging. It was some older white gentlemen, not exactly gentlemen, that weren't being very friendly and welcoming to me in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And
you would pause to ask directions?
I asked for directions. They thought I was driving suspiciously.
Suspiciously?
Yes, and to be clear, I was driving in a way that suggested that I didn't know where I was going. So that was true to some extent. But they pulled up to me and I was going to ask them for direction. They said, what the hell are you doing? And I said, what are you doing? And they said, well, we're just protecting our neighborhood. And I said to them, well, I'm looking for this address. Could you help me find this address? They said, I don't know where that is. You just need to get the hell out of here. And the address was a block away. So they knew where I was going. They just didn't want me to hang around. And they didn't trust what my intentions were in the neighborhood. And I ended up finding the person I was going to go see. And
you smile about it, but that's got to be
It was disconcerting, and I've never actually had an incident like that in life. So I'm 31 years old, and I've actually never had a direct example of racism. I know racism is real in America, and I know it plays out in a lot more subtle ways. That was the first time it played out in a very direct way.
And that was just recently?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Everyone likes to think that we live in a post-racial society.
Yeah, we don't. And the thing is, I don't know if the goal is supposed to be post-racial. I think we need to learn to love and value everyone for who they are individually. That doesn't mean we don't have to see race.
So that notion of colorblind is not necessarily, in your mind,
I don't think that's the goal. Like, I'm black, and I love being black, and I don't want somebody to love me despite the fact that I'm black, or be blind to the fact that I'm black and love me. I want them to just love me for whoever I am individually. But it's okay that you see me as a black guy, too. Like, I'm proud to be black, and that's cool. And the only thing we need to do is make it so that black people, brown people, people of all colors, have opportunities to succeed. So when a white kid grows up thinking that black people might not be as intelligent, there's all these examples in real life to show them, hey, President Obama's black, but not just President Obama, but the doctor, the pediatrician, the principal. We need all these examples, and people need to see that just in real life.
It was, some of the hopeful news from this pilot study we did, and again, it's just a pilot study and just one of many that's been done. But in the original doll test study back in the 40s, African-American kids had a very strong white bias. Even African-American kids would select white skin as the preferred skin. That seemed lessened, though there was still something of a white bias.
And I think that's partly because our parents have kind of grown up with racism, so that we understand how to talk about it a little bit more. And so when you grow up in a setting where you experience the diversity of the black experience in America, then I think you have a little more nuanced view of what it means to be black. And when you don't see that, when you just see maybe what's on TV, or you just know one or two black people that your parents hang out with, or zero black people that your parents hang out with, then that kind of affects what your perception of race is as well.